Okay, so we're gonna set up a Sonoff SV switch as our garage door opener. This is how they come in the package, directly from China. About slightly less than $5 a piece. This is what they look like as we get them out of the package. So one of the first things I'm going to do before we do any modifications or anything like that, I'm going to plug it in using a 5-volt power adapter, and we'll show how to do that later on. Power it up, get it on the network, put it on the native eWelink app, and then we'll go from there. Okay, if you look, you can see right down around here, those two pins, there's a plus and a minus. That is for hooking up power. So I've got a 5-volt power supply I took from an old device. I've checked the polarity, so I know I've got positive there and negative here. Just ran a couple of small jumpers like that, and it's powered up, and you can see the flashing light blinking. So it is ready to pair up. So now we're going to add this device to the eWelink software. I've opened up eWelink. I've already gotten an account on there. We're going to go into quick pairing mode, and it will ask you to choose your Wi-Fi. I've picked mine. I've put my credentials in there. It's trying to pair up with my Wi-Fi. It's found it. So now I can go in and change the name of the device, which let's just call it Garage Door for this particular Sonoff SV. And we'll hit done, and it's complete, and it's been added successfully to the eWelink software. So we can press it, we can click it on, it'll go on, we can click it off, and it'll go off, on and off. So now we want to take a look at doing a firmware update. Before we do anything else with this, you can see that it says it's got a firmware update available. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Right at the top box there, it's firmware 3.0.0, but 3.3 is available. I've just pressed the download button on that. It's just completed the firmware update. That's just been done. Next, we'll change it to inching. Inching means come on and then immediately go off. And so I will set that off time from ½ a second to 2 seconds for our garage door project. That should be just about right. Change that, hit OK. And now when I go on and hit the on button in the eWelink software, it should go off in 2 seconds. So it's on, and then it went off automatically. It goes on, and then it went off automatically. And that's it. So the next step we're going to do is we're going to modify this Sonoff SV in 2 ways. There's a more detailed video online, and I'll provide a link to that. But what we're going to do is there's 2 very small resistors on the either side of this pinout right here. We're going to use a small screwdriver and snap those guys off. They come off pretty easily. Kind of pry against this pin piece on either side and they'll snap off. And then we're going to jumper these inlet sides. We're going to solder just a small piece of wire or a paper clip right between the 2 of those. Solder that. And what that does in combination, it takes this from a relay where it's passing, in this case, we've got 5 volts that we apply to the input over here. Those 5 volts would come out of the output here when it's on, and go off when it's off. But we want to change this to a dry contact switch. We don't want to pass any voltage. So basically we want to have continuity between these 2 output pins here when the switch is on, and we want to have no continuity when the switch is off. So these two small mods will do it. So first thing we'll do, we'll pop off those two little resistors. Should be pretty quick and easy. We'll try it here. Screwdriver. There goes one of them right there. Seems kind of brutal. Seems like destroying a nice piece of electronics here. Don't know if you can see this very well. I'll try it here, but take this other one. And there goes the other one. So now they're both off there. And we will, you can see, I don't know if you can see this real closely, but right here on either side of this pin, there's no resistor there, no resistor there. We'll proceed to the next step. I'll go out to the garage and solder something to jumper those two, right there. To hook these to the actual garage door, the thing I like to do is get a couple colors. In this case, I'll use brown and I'll use yellow. One for the plus out and one for the minus out. And I'll basically solder these into the SV, something like that. And they've got a female connector version. And so what I'll do is I'll take these, I've stripped the ends, I'll hook those to the garage door momentary contact up by where the garage door is. And then I will just plug them into the Sonoff after I've got it all flashed and set up. That way it makes so I can connect them and disconnect them at will. This is a shot of the fully modified Sonoff SV right down here. I've got a jumper that I've soldered across here. Actually just used a large paper clip, worked perfectly, stuck it in. Soldered the underside, I'll show that in a minute. And as I mentioned earlier, took off the two resistors that are on either side of this pin pad right here. And then I also soldered on two wires, which you can see that there's a solder connection under there and the solder connection for the jumper over there. But these two wires will basically go over and connect to the garage door. So I've got a similar yellow and brown wire that's wired to the garage door. I'll put this in a little plastic case, and the power supply will plug in right here, and then the garage doors will plug in right there, and it should be ready to go after programming. Okay, here I am on round 2 in the Sonoff SV. I'll zoom in here. Maybe you can see that I've bridged the former inputs, moved where the input power goes to, which is now a 5-volt DC power adapter. And then I've removed the two small little resistors on the either side of those pins as directed to online. And that turns the output into a dry contact relay. So it's not passing voltage, it just basically makes continuity or breaks continuity. So right now, there's no continuity across the outputs there. Here is the eWelink app. I've got it set to a 3-second timeout. So when I press this, it should go. Okay, 3 seconds. And you can see I'll try that again. So 3 seconds. I've got continuity, I've broken continuity. So that works. It's ready to be installed in the garage for step 3. Okay, okay, here's the Sonoff SV temporarily sitting in a plastic box on top of the ladder, which is the eWelink software. I've got some connectors both for the garage door opener, which I've done orange and brown, and then I've got the power cable connected to it with the proper polarity on red and black. So we're going to give it a go and see if it works. Okay, here we are. I've got the Sonoff SV temporarily rigged to the garage door, and I've got the eWelink app on this tablet. So let's try it and see if it works. And there it goes. It comes on just for 2 seconds. Register is moving up. Perfect. So we'll go down now and we'll close it. Again, eWelink app comes on temporarily, goes right off after 2 seconds, makes the momentary contact. The door is coming down, and the door close sensor just went. Perfect. It's ready for the next step, flashing with the Smarthings software. Here I'm going to show how to go into the Smarthings IDE and add a device type handler from code as well as a smart app from code. So we're in the IDE. If you haven't used this, you need to learn how. I'm going to go in, add a new device handler. I'm going to do it from code. And here I've gone to the links that I'll provide here. This is for the device handler for the Sonoff Connect. I'm going to copy the code. I'm going to jump back over to the IDE. I'm going to paste the code in. I'm going to create it. I'm going to go save it and then publish for me. Now I'm going to go do the same thing for the smart app. So I'm going to go into my smart apps and I'm going to create a new smart app. You'll see me go over there, add a new smart app and pick the from code. And then I'm going to go back over to where I'm getting the code. Here's the code from GitHub. There'll be links provided. I'm grabbing this code. I'm copying it. I'm jumping back over to the IDE. I'm pasting the code in. I'm going to go create. And then I'm going to save it and publish it for me. So now it will be in the IDE and I can download it on my mobile device. So now we'll go into Smarthings and we'll download that smart app we just created. You can see I've already got one in there, but we'll do another one. We'll jump over here, back over into Automation, Smart Apps, and then at the bottom, add a smart app. And then scroll down to the bottom, select My Apps. So those are the ones that are in the IDE that you've created or placed there. And we're going to scroll down. Oh, there we can see the Sonoff Connect app. I'll hit it and I'll hit save and I'm done. Okay, here I've got this wired for Drew Taylor's video, which I'm going to link up to. I've got an FTDI adapter and a data grade cable down to my PC, and I plugged it in while holding the little button there that puts it into program mode. As soon as it's plugged in, you can let go, and you can tell you'll be successful because you will see the COM port appear on the flashing software. So now I'm going to hit flash and we'll do the firmware update. Okay, I hit the flash button on this Node MCU firmware updater, and you can see the progression. You can see it displaying the MAC address of the device, and as soon as it says complete, the Tasmota firmware will be installed. Then we'll go on to the next step and we'll add this device as a Smarthings device in Smarthings. Now that means I've already uploaded the device handler for this as spelled out in Drew's video. So that's got to be there in the IDE, and the Sonoff Connect Smart app has got to be there. Those two things, along with this Tasmota firmware that I'm currently flashing, will allow it to become a Smarthings thing. And we're just about done with this portion. We'll see it complete here in a couple seconds, and we'll be on to the next step. There we go. You can see that it said, it's got green checkbox, it's done. We're now going to use the Sonoff Connect Smart app that we set up earlier to add this Sonoff SV to Smarthings. So we're going to hit Discover Devices. You'll see it'll go out and look. First it starts with 5, and it immediately found this additional one. It added the one with IP36, so it hadn't seen that one. That's the new Sonoff SV we just added. It found it right away. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to change the device name from the default name that they've got, and I'm going to call it Relay Garage Main Minnesota in my case. And then we'll go ahead and select the change device name field. It'll jump over and say, okay, the device name is changed. I'm going to hit done. And when I go back, I won't see it refreshed right here. But if I now go out of here and I'll jump out of the smart apps and go into my home to see my things, I'll scroll down and I'll see a relay, and I'll see both the third stall that I'd set up previously and now the relay for Garage Main Minnesota is there. Okay, we are now going to go in and set up the garage door opener smart app. We're back into the IDE. I'm going to go over and go into my smart apps. Click on that. You can see the smart apps I currently have. I'm going to go over and create a new empty one from code. And this time I'm going to go over to Rboys. Now, Rboys is a paid subscription. I have a lifetime subscription. I think it's all of about, I'm hovering over 99, but it's actually $39. And I use a number of their apps, especially their lock code manager is really, really good. But I've got several that I use actively. The garage door one here is, to me, a step up from the free one. And it also handles turning off the relay after a few seconds, which the free one does not do. So here there's a description on how to install it. You've got both the smart app that you have to install that I'm hovering over, and you've also got to install a device type handler. So here I'm on the code for the smart app. Again, I'm going to copy it. I have access, a username and password here. I'm back over to the IDE. I'm going to paste it in, and I'm going to create it, and then I will go up and save it. And don't pay any attention to that, just because I had another copy in there. Save it and publish it for me. So we've done that. Now we're going to do the device handler. So I'm going to go over and pull up the link to the device handler. I've linked in to their code on their website. I'm copying it, and then I'm going to jump back into the IDE, into my device handlers, create a new device handler from code, and then I will paste the code in there. I'll hit the create button, and I'll go up and hit save and publish for me. So now I've got both the smart app for Rboys and the device handler installed and ready to use. So I can now go to my mobile device, open up Smarthings, again go over to automations, add a smart app, scroll down to my apps. When that comes up, scroll down until I see the virtual garage door opener app from Rboys. I can't remember the exact label. There it is. Virtual Door Manager is how it's labeled here. Virtual Garage Door Manager. I'm going to click on that. It'll open it up. You can see a couple I've already got installed, but I'll install another one just as kind of a dummy. So for the name, I'll hit Demo, and this is where it's setting up a virtual garage device, which it uses as part of the Smart app. And that's what you're going to open and close. That in turn is going to fire off the relay. So now it says, which switch are you going to use? So I'm going to hit the relay for the main door opener there. And then which garage door sensor? So I'm going to select the garage door sensor that's on that door. The two work hand in hand. So it knows the state of the garage door. Is it open or closed? So now that that's in place, if I get out of automations and I go back over into my home and I scroll down, I can see Demo Garage Door. So I now can use that, and we can demonstrate the use of this next. The Sonoff SV is installed. It's flashed. It's on Smarthings. I'm running a third-party garage door app from Rboys, and I'll attempt to run it from here. Be patient. I'm going to pull up the Smarthings app and run it, and I'll show a screenshot of this in a minute. Opening with the Rboys app. It's coming up. I'll show a screenshot of this. Open. Closing with the Rboys app. I'll move over to the screenshot of it. As you can see, it closed. To close out this how-to video, I thought I would mention one other additional benefit to having the garage door on Smarthings, and that is to be able to use it as part of automations and routines. So I'll go over here to automations and routines, just show a couple examples. So when both of us leave the house, this is when we're both gone, it will check to see that the garage doors are closed, and it will close those doors. So that's a nice feature to have in case you leave the house and forget one of the doors might be open. Also, the goodnight routine. I've done the same thing there. I've put a closed garage door for both garage doors into that routine. So it's a nice additional feature to have. I hope you've found this video helpful and are able to use some of the features. And I want to recognize all the sources that I used, and I will list those in the credits that follow. Thank you for watching.